Charlene Downs disappeared near Blackpool's North Shore in November 2003.
Well, this has been one of Lancashire's longest-running murder investigations.
What do you think did happen?
I don't know. I live in hope that she's still alive.
These two men, Mohammed Raveshi and Ayad Al-Batiki, were heard making sick jokes about chopping up her body and putting it into a kebab. Their conversations were bugged using secret microphones.
There was no doubt in my mind that we had the right two people.
But he says he seen 6 black bags. He knew that girl was in them bags.
The men were guilty, and we had the evidence to bring the killers to justice.
I know nothing about Charlene Downs.
An astonishing catalogue of incompetence, manipulation and lies.
These men have been falsely accused of the gravest of crimes.
Police think the murder happened here.
The English Defence League, the BNP, they were supporting us.
It elevated her story to a national and an international story.
This is not black and white.
I don't think anyone really wanted to talk about what was actually happening in Blackpool at the time.
There is more to the story than anybody can imagine.
Hello? Hi, it's Blackpool Police here. We've just received a 999 call on your phone. Is there a problem? So my daughter's been missing since Saturday night. They thought she'd been back by now, but she hasn't returned. How old is she? 14. She came down to see me at work, and she said, "Oh, I'll see you later, Mum." She went off with a friend, and I've not seen her since. Can you give me a description, please? She's got shoulder-length, dark brown hair. Yeah, with a fringe. She's got a fringe as well. What was she wearing? She had a black jumper on, with like white diamonds on the jumper. What's she called? Charlene. Charlene Downs.
Charlene was wearing my clothes. Very mysterious, very cheeky. Nice Charlene was, very cheeky. It was a very cold night as well, just like tonight. Freezing. Our plans were just like any other teenagers, basically. Just going to the arcades, McDonald's, and going to see my mum.
She went out with Becky down the arcades. I gave them their pocket money, £5 each. Doesn't sound much, but it was enough. I said, "All right, my darling, don't be late home." She said, "I won't be late home, Mum."
The night Charlene went missing, we was in Mr T's, and she came walking in with 2 other people. I think one was a sister, and we were just in a brief conversation of where you're going tonight, and I think they were off to meet someone.
Me and Charlene walked up here. We're coming up. We've got milkshakes in our hand, laughing and joking. Made a phone call over that telephone box over there. And then that's the last time I seen her.
What did she tell you she was going?
Said she was just meeting up with some friends. That was it.
She didn't tell you anything about what was going on?
I don't know who she went with.
But you know that.
I still don't know who she went with. Or who she met up with or anything else. No more comment.
No, but...
No.
We were having a lot of issues getting her friends to talk, and then when they did talk, there was a lot of conflicting accounts.
I bumped into her in town, by the town hall. We stayed in town for a bit, walking around. And then we went on the carousel bar. Got talking to a few people and had a few drinks. And then I lost her. Lost sight of her and then never seen her again.
The police were told that she was last seen in the carousel bar, but she wasn't. Nobody wanted to talk about the night Charlene went missing because I don't think anyone really wanted to talk about what was actually happening in Blackpool at the time. A lot of kids would be scared to say what was really going on because they didn't want to get in trouble. So they covered it up at the time and didn't realise how serious it actually was.
Charlene Downs was one of the last cases I ever did, certainly the biggest, and it's the only one that got away. The police faced a wall of lies from the start. I mean, there was all sorts of other leads that we were given, which turned out to be baseless. There was all sorts of other so-called sightings of Charlene alive and well after the day she was last seen. But with so many misleading pieces of information being poured in, it became very, very difficult indeed to see the wood for the trees. Most of this information was coming from girls of Charlene's age, so maybe they were a little reluctant to confess the truth. Maybe some girls thought it better to tell a white lie, a bit of a tale, to protect their own reputations. This was one of the most challenging investigations that I ever had any involvement with. You start off with what should have been a fairly simple girl in her early teens going missing from home. There were so many lines of inquiry. That was totally unexpected, and it added complexity upon complexity.
It was clear from quite early on there was a lot of misinformation around the police. It got to the point where the investigation was going nowhere. But then stepped forward David Cassidy. Cassidy was a small-time local white businessman who knew pretty much everybody in that area, and he had some compelling evidence that made the police sit up and listen to him.
Mr. Cassidy explained fully what he'd heard regarding the death of Charlene Downs. Mr. Cassidy was a good, reliable and believable witness.
Tarek gave me the full story of everything what happened to Charlene Downs. Tarek said to me that he knew something that would get my brother sent away.
He came forward with some shocking information about two kebab shop owners, Al-Batiki and Raveshi, and what they'd done to Charlene.
I am going now to take you to my room where, I'll keep some of my documents about the Charlene Downs case. There are many, many boxes. Almost everyone in Blackpool thinks that I've been involved with Charlene Downs murder. Police, they don't believe me either. As far as I'm concerned, I've never come across her, I do not know her, I would not recognize her, and I've never seen her in my life. The only time that I know about her, when I see the picture of her and things like that. I don't see any reason why I should come to under suspicion for this Charlene Downs murder.
You have to believe coincidence after coincidence to give Raveshi any credibility whatsoever. I think he's a dangerous man, and he's extremely clever and extremely manipulative and extremely wealthy now.
You look worried. Believe you me, don't worry. There's nothing they can find.
David Cassidy was a local businessman who knew most of the people running businesses in the fast food industry in Blackpool. He moved from one takeaway shop to the next with his slot machine business. He told the police with some quite shocking information that he'd come across about 2 Asian takeaway bosses.
To say this was the first time we had a significant lead on what had actually happened to Charlene is an understatement. This was dynamite to the investigation. Cassidy named 2 people, Eddie Albatiki, better known as perhaps to his friends as Iyad, and Mohammed Raveshi, who uses the street name Rez.
I knew Raveshi. I'd heard rumours. Young girls getting in his van and not seen till the next day. Tarek said he came in from work one night and Raveshi was in bed with 3 young girls. One was 12 at the time and 2 of her friends, and one apparently was Charlene Downs. I was told that Charlene, apparently she'd had enough and she was going to the police. And apparently that's what triggered something off in their heads. You know, that wasn't going to happen. She ended up in Eddie's room when he was strangling her. Raveshi, I think, just helped dispose of the body. But he says he's seen 6 black bags. He knew that girl was in them bags.
This was the first time anyone had confirmed, even by inference, that she had been killed, and more importantly, who'd killed her. We now had 2 major suspects with credible evidence to progress the investigation into those 2 alone.
Being in the takeaway business and knowing other owners, and the only predator that I'm aware of in this is Eddie Albatiki. Eddie was brash, arrogant, driving around town in blacked out BMs, looking for young girls, asking them where they're going, do they want to go to parties, do you want to buy cocaine? I've seen the temper, I've seen it for myself. Where he switches, he's confronted me a few times. I'm going to kill you. The guy is like a time bomb. Raveshi, they were sort of partners. They were that close. I believe Raveshi would have helped him, give him an alibi, or helped him dispose of the body. I mean, the rumours are that she was chopped up and put in kebabs. That's just what I heard.
The stories that went round Blackpool were pretty horrendous.
There's a few stories. Well, there was 2.
One of the guys snapped one night, snapped her neck or whatever, chopped her up, put her in a blender, put her in a kebab, served them to the customers.
A man got ill from a kebab and it was tested and they found human remains. There was the one where they thought she had been killed and put into the walls, because apparently there was a new wall what was built in there.
That's what I think. That's what I've been told and what I'm led to believe, so.
Can you tell me how many kebab shops you had in 2003?
2003, I had Arfan Spices in St. Anne's, and I had Funny Boys, you know, on Dixon Road, and I had investment with him. That is how I know Albatiki.
And did you know anything about Charlene Downs going to kebab shops or hanging around kebab shops?
I did not have any clue about anything. I don't have any clue about what they're talking about. I don't care where she is, whoever done anything, whether she's alive or dead or whatever. I couldn't give a toss, to be honest, about this.
I remember being around the kebab shops a lot. I've seen Charlene there a lot of times. I've seen her behind the counter a lot of times as well.
Charlene, she used to go into like these takeaways and she'll get her some chips and that. I would sit in the front and she would go round to her back and she'll be about 10, 20 minutes. And she'll come back out with some money and we'll just go around the arcades like nothing had happened and stuff like that. I didn't think nothing of it at the time.
She used to be dead caring and between 12 and 13. She changed. Her eyes changed. It was weird. It was just like she was just gone. So it's like she was just making it all try and go away.
What did you find out that Charlene was involved in?
Charlene was exposed to a network of Asian males that were actively involved in grooming.
A lot of the things that happen centred around a very dark alleyway off Abingdon Street in Blackpool town centre.
I'm not going in it, sorry, but I've never been in, I can't, no. I'm not a racist in any shape or form, but because of the takeaway that link off to the alleyway, they branded this as Packy Alley. I didn't ever see what was going on. I mean, with my own eyes, I did never witness it. If I had witnessed it, I would have put a stop to it there and then. It knocks me sick, physically sick.
The alleyway backed on to a row of kebab shops. There's a lot of delivery drivers coming and going through that alleyway.
There used to be a little tiny kitchen window. The window used to be open and she'd shout for it. I was never allowed in the shop. They used to tell me to get out, I had to wait outside. And so obviously, I knew they were getting fags and alcohol. I knew that because they used to come out with them, but I don't know what went on inside. These are fully grown men in the 30s, 40s. I used to tell her, this is bad, this isn't right. You're 13.
Very naive. She wasn't very streetwise, which would make her more vulnerable to people who would want to abuse her.
And you seen this?
Yeah, I seen this and I was part of it. Yeah, I did, yeah.
So you felt like you were groomed?
I was groomed, yeah, I was groomed. I was groomed, but I wasn't groomed to the point where I was taken advantage of. So I'd get my burger and I'd give them a kiss on the cheek or something, or I'd get my burger and wind them up a bit and then fuck off. Yeah, it used to happen quite a lot.
Quite shocking.
Well, it's shocking to you, isn't it? It's not shocking to me and other people who went through that because it was the norm. We didn't know any different.
We discovered what we considered to be an epidemic of sexual abuse of children. The age of these girls was 14 to 15. The girls were far too young in law and were being taken advantage of by adults. And from the evidence that was gleaned, these men were predominantly from Asian restaurants. The infamous address where Albertiki owns. I still think he owns it, I'm not sure, but that's where he was working. Funny boys. I'll take you around some of the other people who frequented or were believed to frequent Packy Alley. One of them lived there. He admitted that Charlene had performed sexual favours for him. This shop here was owned by an Asian. The girls used to frequent there and allow him, the proprietor there, to fondle them whilst they stole from him. Their words, not mine. Very shortly we'll be coming to a takeaway premises at the next junction. That was owned by another Asian. He was a very good friend of Iyad Albertiki, very good friend indeed. And there was considerable evidence that Charlene and other girls were going to this place, this takeaway, where this chap and his associates were sexually using schoolgirls for their own gratification. Reveshy owned that first floor apartment up there, and that was where Charlene was quite possibly disposed of with catering machines up there.
Charlene was my baby girl. She used to love the illuminations. She loved the switch on, as that was her favourite time. She loved the switch on of the illuminations. Though she'd be 29 years old now, I still think of her, I still see 14-year-old girls and think it's her. I've often walked around, yeah, and saw them, young girls, looked into their faces and thought it was Charlene, and I've shouted, Charlene, Charlene, they've looked around and it's not been them. I miss her terror. I think I just miss everything about her. I just wish I could have her back. Well, from what I found out afterwards, Charlene was hanging around takeaways and going around to see these Asian grooming men, but I didn't know anything about that at the time. I absolutely no idea. As far as I knew, she was with her friends that night and she was coming back that night. I had no idea of the darker side and what they'd been up to previous. No idea at all.
Based on what Cassidy had said, he'd been told, allowed Lancashire Police to seek approval to put covert surveillance into Reveshy's house and vehicle. Both he and Albertiki were brought in for questioning.
They were detained informally for some hours whilst the covert team went into that house and that car to install secret microphones.
We never been in trouble with the police. All of us are nice. All of us, we haven't done nothing.
Would you consider yourself to be a good friend of ours?
He's a good, yeah.
He's a good friend of yours?
Yeah, he's a good friend, yeah. I wouldn't say he's a bad person.
You don't think he's a bad person?
No, not his. I mean, there is nothing to hide, all of us. There's absolutely nothing.
Both of them denied any knowledge of having any contact or of ever knowing Charlene Downs. The recordings started from the moment Reveshy returned back to his home address on Hornby Road. No idea that there were devices in his home and in the car that then started recording all the conversation.
Somebody's powerful, but somebody who is addicted. You are powerful, I am powerful, but I have power.
For the next 4 weeks, those microphones were active 24/7 so that we could record everything they might say about Charlene Downs.
Lord, touch your door, I mean, I touch your door, I mean.
Mohammed Reveshy, he and I have an unusual relationship. In 1988, he turned up from London and bought the house next door but one. He was all right. He wanted to be my friend. He said so. And I had no issue with that particularly.
Initially, when I came to Blackpool, I moved to this road. And the house itself is that one there. And my best friend, Don Fraser, who is a police officer, live here. Yes, my best friend and worst enemy.
Does it feel weird being back here, Ed?
It is actually. I don't even feel like walking around here because of Mr. Fraser.
I got on pretty well with Mr. Reveshy until a major problem occurred, which really caused me alarm. He'd had 2 9-year-old girls in his back bedroom on the ground floor of his house, and they'd been shown or they'd watched soft pornography. He admitted that to the police officer who attended to investigate. He said it had been an accident. They'd put the machine on whilst he'd been in the loo. He came to see me at my house. It had been a complete mistake, and I just didn't believe that, because I told him I was appalled.
Come on, Red. Come on. You go there, you go in the sun so that you can do it better. Come on, go over there. Come here. Yes.
Reinvestigation, shortly after the episode where films were played to the children in his own lounge, I do know that he applied to the local authority in Blackpool to become a foster parent to delinquent juveniles.
He's not focusing.
I could not believe that.
I saw ad in the paper, if you have extra room, if you want to do provide supportive lodging for the teenagers. I didn't see no harm in it. I had a spare room and I thought I would be helpful. And at the same time, if there is financial gain, it would be financial gain as well. They approved me as a special foster parent to foster a young girl, because this girl, she was very difficult from their point of view and she wouldn't settle anywhere. And then they brought her to me and she wanted to stay.
Dance, turn your music up, Rez, or something.
He's become a sort of quasi-father figure, and that's putting it politely, because he had any number of girls going to his house, the schoolgirls, without their parents knowing, in his house, in his car, giving them money and giving them whatever for reasons which were, to say the least, suspicious.
Go on, Rez.
It's bizarre that a single man without a family is fostering vulnerable children. This man likes having young people around him. He likes being a benefactor.
Whether it's suspicious or whether there is a motive or whatever, it is for other people to say. From their point of view, if you're a single man, you have young boys or girls in your care, you have to be sleeping with them.
Were you sleeping with them?
I don't even sit next to them, let alone to sleep with them. I don't even, if they're sitting, I mean, if you're on a sofa, I sit there, they sit there.
Oh yeah, he's nice legs, I know. You have so beautiful legs.
Come on.
Oh. Come on, say how much you love me then, come on.
I love you, Rez.
Oh, thank you very much.
Reinvestigation, he was a wealthy man. He owned quite a few properties. He had strong associations with a lot of young white females. He had the money to spend on them and he was able to befriend them.
What we did find in the investigation was several girls came forward saying how uneasy they'd felt, uneasy at least, when he was in their company. You've got to bear in mind that Reinvestigation was given court orders restraining him from any contact with young girls because of the alarm he was causing to the girls and their parents.
So I lived in a children's home round the corner from Afran Spices, and I used to go in there occasionally with my friends, getting chips or whatever, and he used to approach me asking me if I wanted a job there all the time. And one day I took him up on the offer.
How old were you?
I was 14 and just thought it's a bit of extra spending money. When I actually got behind the counter, that's when he was very touchy-feely. He was sleazy. Oh, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, and stuff like this. Like cuddling me and touching my neck and like touch my bum and touch my legs. And then Reinvestigation give me a flat, which was creepy at times, as he used to let himself into my flat. He barred my mum and dad from the flat. And he used to be all dead flirtatious and touchy-feely then, like sitting next to me if my boyfriend wasn't there and touching my legs and stuff. He's a very scary man and very convincing man as well. After I found out what happened to Charlene, and when I found out it actually Reinvestigation was involved in it, I thought that could have been me.
Reinvestigation was a groomer, there's no doubt about it. He appeared to have very, very few friends of his own age or his own sex. It was mainly young girls. Albertiki was sexually motivated. It would appear that every female that he came in contact with, there was some allegations made against him.
Mr. Albertiki's conduct had caused all sorts of concern to the police for a number of years. I don't think Eddie Albertiki can ever claim to be a man of good character.
I went on an end-of-season rounders party to Blackpool to go to Funny Girls. I had a drink in the pub and then a couple of drinks on the coach. Couldn't get in because the bouncer thought I was drunk. So I went across the road for a coffee to sober me up. I remember sitting down and drinking my coffee. I just have images of spinning on a chair and the world spinning. There must have been something in my drink because I don't remember anything. It's clear as day. I remember my phone ringing and I opened my eyes and I wasn't at home. Where am I? Why have I got no clothes on? I sat bolt upright and quickly got as dressed as quick as I could, stumbled down some stairs, I shot across the road. As I ran straight out the road, someone else shouted at me from the back, come back, come back. And I turned around to a guy, an Asian guy, with a load of money in his hand. The bouncer just said, come in, come in, come in now. And the bouncer looked after me and he phoned the police. And the police came and said I'd been assaulted. I was told that I had had sex and a man who turned out to be Albertiki had sex with me, basically, while I was unconscious.
The associate and the subject are out of the premises and are towards the subject vehicle. The associates were in blue jeans, a 3/4 length black mac over a beige top. The subject is now in and into the subject vehicle. Stand by, stand by, stand by.
Can you give me your full name and your normal address, please?
My name is Mohammed Reza Rabeshi. My address in Hornby Road, Blackpool.
I interviewed Reinvestigation. He was a sharp operator, very cunning, sly person, not a particularly likeable chap. He made no admissions regarding Charlene Downs.
This is Hornby Road. This is where I used to live. The police think the murder happened here. This is the bedsit door for Ayad, yeah? And Ayad was living in this room. They say everything happened in my bedroom.
She was killed in your bedroom?
That's what they say. They say that she was sexually abused here, and she was murdered here, and she was dismembered here.
These are photographs taken of the inside of Mohammed Reinvestigation's house on Hornby Road. This was the first place that the police wanted to check forensically to see if there was actually any evidence of Charlene ever going into the house.
There was a very deep forensic search made of that room and that house.
They ripped everything apart and they removed the carpet, and there was all furniture, they cut into furnitures, into checking Ayad's bed and a wardrobe, everything that you can imagine.
I do remember Cassidy telling us about black bin bags on Ravesh's bed, a lot of blood, and that they were cleaning the room.
They found blood?
What blood they found was, belonged to one of my foster son's girlfriend.
I can remember one of the forensic scientists saying that for a house of its age, it was rather unusual that it was rather clean, and they weren't finding the debris or the residue that they would normally be found.
A lot of the floorboards had since been replaced, they were new. A lot of the skirting boards around the side. A lot of modification had been made to the inside of the house. As a police officer, as a detective on the inquiry, it was a red flag. It was like the scene had been completely cleaned up before the police had any opportunity to get in there.
I am very, very good doing construction work. I have about 16 or 17 properties.
Vessi is really convincing. He's very believable. He's very articulate. And he's really, really resourceful.
I do all my work myself. And I've done that for many years. So when you've done all this many times, you know exactly what you do. So that's why I'm ripping everything out.
Charlene went missing in 2003. She kissed her mum goodbye saying that she was going to the arcades, and then she vanished without a trace. Now, she had a chaotic lifestyle. She was one of a number of girls who used to congregate near to takeaway shops and have sex with some of the men who worked there.
And stairs there. I don't even want to be down there. State of it. Smoking drugs down here. Blackpool for you, innit? I felt sick when I walked down. I feel sick now. Why don't you love me? We did, Charlene, we did. You should sit on this exact step. That's how we knew where to sit. She used to go in that door and come back out with a fag from her.
She obviously meant a lot to you.
More than a lot, mate. She's my soulmate. If she were around now, which we've been married with kids. When the alcohol and the fags started getting given, I had to make a decision, and I had to make a decision for me and her. And I asked her to come with me, and she said no, so I went home and never saw her again.
When a day go by that I don't think of her, you know, and wish she was with me. But that's the blouse she wore. It's grubby, but there's no way I can wash it because that's like washing up part of her away, although it's not. It would be to me, and that I can't do. I can't do. Still can feel her near me. I can still smell her and still feel her near me. I just can't bring myself to wash them. Just can't understand why she went missing, what happened, why anyone would want to do anything to her, why anybody would want to hurt her.
Upon conclusion of the covert audio surveillance, there were maybe 52 digital tapes that captured conversations of both Albertiki and Raveshi over a 4-week period of time. I was able to start listening to those covert recordings and then to start making basic transcripts of what the content was. What is very interesting is the first few tapes. Clearly, they were shocked and worried and panicking, and the first thing that they start to talk about is the murder inquiry.
You look worried, you know. Believe you me, don't worry. There's nothing they, you know, they can find.
Raveshi, she died here. There's a sigh. And Raveshi asked the question, why'd you kill her here? Why you did her?
This was terrible. The last one, then we put it to the last big one, and then it was cut off to the 45 degrees.
Eddie talking about land, talking about a land that has bones on it, and that one of these days somebody is going to find a bone on the land.
Yesterday morning, I thought maybe something is on. I'll go and change the color again. It's something not there.
The swinging emotions of Raveshi, from being very, very confident to him almost having a breakdown where the pressure was just too much for him. And then Raveshi says, I'm so worried and you were the one who fucking killed her. It really was at that point that, you know, there was no doubt in my mind that we had the right two people. He had Albertiki, murdered Charlene, and Mohammed Raveshi assisted in her disposal.
You are fucking Charlene. Yeah, he's a fucking crazy.
Blackpool today charged Eddie Ayad Albertiki and Mohammed Raveshi with the murder of the missing teenager Charlene Downs.
There's absolutely no doubt that the police thought that they had their men. I wasn't too sure.
Is there anything unique about the Raveshi case? Is there anything that stood out?
Well, I think what really stood out was the evidence of Detective Sergeant Besant.
I'm listening, I said, what the hell she's talking about? I've never said anything like that. Where is it all coming from?
When we heard those recordings, we realised that the evidence was wholly false. Her transcriptions were made to fit the case.
The transcript came, I'm reading it, and I'm thinking to myself, I've never said anything like that. Where is it all coming from? When eventually I got the CDs, I'm listening, I said, what the hell she's talking about? There's nothing like that on the CDs.
This is very bad. My view would be that a lot of this is not at a level that it should be used as evidence.
These men have been locked up for 2.5 years. They'd been falsely accused of the gravest of crimes.
The Charlene Downs investigation was the biggest in Lancashire police history. And we finally had the evidence to bring the killers to justice.
On the face of it, and looking at all the transcripts, the case looked quite severe. I've been a criminal barrister since 1972. You try not to decide that your client is guilty as such, but certainly the evidence looked strong.
When I went up to give my evidence, I just glanced across. They didn't look at me, they just looked straight ahead.
Mohammed Rereleased, I didn't know him from Adam, but I had Abatiki. I used to see that creep in the nightclubs with all the young girls, and that. There was something about him I didn't like. He was a creep. But he kept winking at people in the jury. There were two people, a man and a woman in the jury, looking over. And that's why I was getting so high rate. And I was like, how do you know he doesn't know them?
I do believe that he had Abatiki murdered Charlene, and Mohammed Rereleased assisted in her disposal.
Rereleased been a dubious character, to put it politely, probably since he arrived in Britain. I think he's a dangerous man, and he's extremely clever and extremely manipulative.
I know nothing about Charlene Down because I don't know her, never met her, and I know nothing about her family. Nothing at all. I have very strong suspicion that Mr. Don Fraser is behind it all. Being a police officer and abusing his power, he had a major role to play in this, to bring me into a situation.
I've lived where I live, in Blackpool, since 1980. In 1988, he turned up from London and bought the house next door but one. Single man, he looked unlike everybody else on the street. He was from the Middle East. One or two of our near neighbours weren't too pleased to see one of his race come onto the street. I'll be frank, they said, how do I feel about having one of them move in? But I stayed social, not social, cordial with Rereleased.
Don Fraser, he must be a racist man because I've done nothing to him for him to behave like he did at the time. And he did many things about me to create my life almost impossible. He is behind most of my trouble from the day I set my foot in Blackpool. I went to his house a few times, that he wasn't home, and his wife, she was talking at some stage to me about their personal relationship, the fact that Don is always working. She told me that her husband cannot get it up, and I got the impression that she is coming on to me. I decided that no, that is she's becoming a bit too friendly, so I didn't go around. I don't know what she told him, but he became my worst enemy.
Rereleased told us that the reason why you didn't like him is because something happened between him and your wife. And your wife.
Well, if Rereleased is saying that that there was any kind of romantic, my wife didn't like the guy pretty much from the word go. So it's just laughable. I mean, Rereleased is just incapable of telling the truth, and I know he's a brilliant liar. I mean, some of his performances would put Jimmy Savile to shame. I know that he's got a bee in his bonnet about my activities and my motivation in trying to get him convicted, but it's just ludicrous. Most paedophiles are sly, secretive, organised in their disgusting ways. What we did find in the investigation, several girls came forward saying how uneasy they'd felt when they were in his company. He'd made them all feel queasy.
All of the investigators were disgusted by the information that was coming into the inquiry. I had a young daughter of the same age as when Charlene went missing, so, you know, to me, it was sickening. I do believe that Mohammed Reinvestigation had a very unhealthy interest in young white females. He was certainly the brains of the partnership. Smug, arrogant, self-assured, dickhead. And similarly, he had Albertiki, very much the same too.
I had a drink in the pub and then a couple of drinks on the coach. Bouncer thought I was drunk, so I went across the road to a kebab shop for a coffee. And then the next thing, I know it was early hours. I woke up and I was naked in a bed. No idea where I was. I don't know how I got up the stairs. I don't know how I got in the room. I don't know how I got in the bed. There must have been something in my drink because I don't remember anything. The police told me that I had Albertiki rape me. They told me that there were cameras in the house and that they'd seen everything. Don, Fraser and Jan Besson interviewed me a lot on a lot of different occasions. They told me he'd killed Charlene Downs and that they were going to get him because of me. That was how they were going to do it. They told me that that was what it was for.
Did you tell that Eddie Albertiki was a murder suspect in the Charlene Downs case?
No, because it was top secret when she got raped. It was 6 months before that became public news. There's no way any police officer would have told anybody that in 2005 when the girl got raped.
Just so you know, it would have been illegal for the police to give you any information about Albertiki as a murder suspect.
They told me who he was, what he'd done. They told me they'd been following him for months. They told me I was lucky to be alive. And they said that I could get him for Charlene, for the child that he'd killed. And he'd cut up and he'd sold in kebab meat. So that was then on me. And that, to be fair, at the time, that got me through.
One of the things that we have to sort of put to you is that there was a suggestion that you led to say things that weren't true.
If it's going to be suggested that the police somehow influenced to make a complaint, I completely refute that.
Don Fraser phoned me numerous times. Jan Besson phoned me as well. It was one of them that said they'd got audio for the tape. I was told that it wasn't a very strong case because I was making gratification noises that could be heard. They told me to say, maybe you made these noises because you thought it was your boyfriend, and that unless I said I thought it was my boyfriend, the case would fall apart. And I said, I can't say that because I don't remember any of it, because I wasn't compos mentis. I wasn't willing to put my name to something that wasn't true.
Did you actually speak to...
No.
So are you saying you didn't actually speak to...
No, not that I can remember.
Have you actually met Jan Besson?
Yeah.
She said she doesn't remember speaking to you.
She took me out for coffee in Preston.
She said she has no memory of you.
Yeah, well, that's not true. I don't know why she'd say that. She phoned me a lot on the phone to tell me everything was going to be all right because I was in such a mess. And in Preston, she took me out for coffee after we were in court. She was in court with me, counselling. And she doesn't remember me. I'm not bothered because I want to forget it all myself anyway, but she's lying. The law, as I believe, if you've done something wrong, the police are there to fix that. You get found guilty and you go to prison, but the police didn't fix anything, they made it worse. Because they've left me with nothing. And all these unanswered questions and pieces of a puzzle that never have ever fit. I've been used. I was used to catch a murderer, and they couldn't catch a murderer. They didn't want him for rape. So then he dropped me like a sack of potatoes. I wasn't needed. I was surplus to requirements.
I was just a pawn in a game that they didn't win.
The police were desperately trying to get other evidence against both men in order to try and bolster up their case against them. This involved going around interviewing, making suggestions that certain things had happened without any evidence that they had.
Some of the witnesses were leaned on excessively by police investigating the Charlene Downs case, particularly Jan Bessent. Her name comes up time and time again.
She spoke to people who knew Mr. Revesci. She tried to persuade them that they should give evidence against Mr. Revesci, that he was a very bad man who needed to be put away. And obviously, for a police officer to do that is nothing short of wholly dishonest.
Did you ever put pressure on people?
No, I don't really recall interviewing. Oh my goodness. That's a very unfair line of questioning.
The police were out to get him. They picked me up from school one day. It was absolutely horrible. I was just a kid, I was only 14. They questioned me for hours and hours. It was Jan Bessent. She was shouting and screaming at me, "We know he's a pedo, tell us he's assaulted you or we'll lock you up." I remember Jan Bessent slamming her hands on the table. She was really, really angry at that point. They said they would let me go if I told them he'd sexually assaulted me, but I just wasn't going to say something that wasn't true. I've known him since I was 9, and he was one of the most honest, helpful, good-hearted people I know. He wouldn't do anything like that. My mother couldn't look after me. She asked Rez to look after me when I was 11. To a lot of people, that sounded really dodgy, but my mum knew he was a good person. Rez taught me the value of work. He'd always be working, but he'd make time to help me with my schoolwork. He was always very supportive.
It is such a coincidence. Police coming for me for this Charlene Downs, and suddenly or sexual abuse comes up as well, whereas before no sign of anything like that. The police made their mind up that they want me. They were prepared to go to any extent to create something which is not there, turn me into evil person, basically.
Are you an evil person?
I am not evil, far from that. I am a hard-working person. The police knows that full well. They followed me. They saw me day and night what I do. So how could I be evil? Yeah?
When did you first realize that the police had suspicions that you were involved in the killing of Charlene Downs?
Can you see me properly? Yeah? So my name is Reinvestigation. This is my property. Yeah? So I'm just filming this one because the police has done some search for the past 6 days. So we're just going to keep this as evidence. You know? Could you please follow?
It was about 7:30 or 8 in the morning. Suddenly police come in, knocking on my door. Hundreds of them asking me, "You Revesci?" I said yes, and we come in to search your house.
It seemed to me that he removed the carpet.
And then it was towards the end of that day that I found out what it was all about.
Nice laminated floor, which you can see, they ripped it all off.
According to police, the murder happened here, and Charlene Downs was sexually abused here.
So these are photographs taken of the inside of Mohammed Revesci's house on Hornby Road. We recovered nothing by way of valuable DNA or other evidence to suggest that Charlene had been at that location. It was disappointing, but that said, we did then move on to insert covert recording equipment inside Reveshi's home address. Those recordings had been listened to live time in the 4-week process that the surveillance was in operation. And then a few days or so later, the recordings, there were maybe 52 of them, digital audio tapes, and they were all in a box. And I thought, I'm going to go and listen to these recordings and see what was on them.
The audibility of the recordings was really problematic. It was very, very poor, disturbingly so. Unfortunately, the specialist team placed at least one of the microphones close to a television, which really did hamper the clarity of what they recorded. But as poor as they were, Jan Besant volunteered to try and see if she could make out anything. She was keen to find out what had happened to Charlene Downs. She was very keen, as we all were. And she worked and worked and worked, and within weeks, she was hearing material which went into the court case. Without Jan Besant's transcripts, you don't have any evidence to charge these two, never mind convict them.
I listened to those tapes for 18 months. I knew them inside out. I was given expert status so that I could deliver the evidence at court on behalf of the prosecution to identify those key and incriminating conversations that implicated both Reveshi and Albertiki. This was probably one of the key conversations. Reveshi is clearly feeling the pressure and the stress of the investigation.
Yesterday morning, I thought maybe something is on. I'm going to check the photo again. It's coming up.
The transcript came, I'm reading it, and I'm thinking to myself, I've never said anything like that. Where is it all coming from? Initially, I thought maybe they tried to get somebody to sound like me to record it, but when eventually I got the CDs, I'm listening, I said, what the hell she's talking about? There's nothing like that on the CDs. I knew that this case was so corrupt, so obvious, that, eventually somebody would see. Obviously, it's frightening at the time that you're going through it. Luckily, I'm a sort of person, very strong character. I would not sit back till the day I am actually outside. I would work as hard as ever. I was up to 2, 3 a.m. studying all these recordings, creating various charts. Every hour or so, the prison officers come and check, and they would say, Mr. Awash, get some sleep. I said, no, I am determined to get to the bottom of this case. Okay, these are the documents. It's 20 boxes of evidence. I was trying to go chart after chart, get into the bottom of this case, to make it easier for me to explain to my solicitor.
We had consultations with him in Preston Prison during the course of the trial. It was one of those cases where, as we delved more into the evidence, more into his background, more into what had happened, the allegations that were made against him and what he was supposed to have said on tape simply didn't add up.
The transcription produced by D.S. Besant was potentially very misleading. It's extremely important that when recordings are being transcribed, that the person doing the task is objective, that they don't already have very strong views, or indeed any views at all, about how far that evidence is going to be used to support a case. In this instance, the police officer's transcripts showed several signs that she had been subject to confirmation bias, which is the technical term for being influenced by the events which she had investigated. The fact that D.S. Besant had been one of the main officers in the case, collecting the evidence, making arrests and doing interviewing, meant that she could not possibly produce transcripts in which confirmation bias was not going to be a factor. She would be affected by what her theories were as to the case. You're not going to be here, burial place on this, actually. There's no way. Because I don't think it's there.
Yesterday morning, I thought maybe something is on.
It's not burial place. I think she's saying I go out and check as quick as I can. Or, you know, that I put in brackets. Yeah, it's not burial place. I'm pretty sure it's not. Burial is 3 syllables. There are no 3 syllables there, even taking that guy's accent.
Yesterday morning, I thought maybe something is on.
I cannot hear anything but burial place.
Yeah, but you've been absolutely hearing that from everybody. It's a classic case of cognitive priming, where because everybody has been told that that's what these words are, that is what they're hearing. There's absolutely no phonetic or linguistic support for that interpretation. Yet I can't hear burial place in that at all.
This is the first time I will have heard this, or the content of these tapes in a long, long time. It's a blast from the past. I still believe the same what they said in the transcripts.
I really don't think that's what's being said. I'm hearing, I've put in brackets, I killed no one.
There's a sigh, and then, why do you think you killed her here? I was just angry, killing.
Now that, I think, may be clean. Why do you think she cleaned in here? Or why do you...
I feel that, you know, I can still make out what they're saying. There's still really nothing that I would change.
Just telling them the axe and now you have to die is in the background. They are discussing big bones. Whether we're talking about media that's in the background, whether there's a program talking about axes and dying, or whether they're talking about this case is something I can't answer. She hasn't transcribed any of the stuff that's going in the background. And it's not a full transcript, it's a summary of what she has decided. In fact, they're all summaries. It's edited evidence. It's been redacted, pre-redacted by Jeanne Besant.
When these tapes were first played in court, it was a horrific moment for the family. They were led to believe that they were listening to conversations about how their own daughter met a horrible death. And that leaves you stunned.
We had monitors in the court, and together with the conversation when it was played, there was a ticker tape that ran underneath it with the subtitles of what the transcript said.
The last one, the last deep one, and then it was cut off to the 45 degrees.
And the stuff that came out in that court, I just couldn't believe it. The stuff that came out was just horrendous.
But it said on them tapes, and I just, oh, it's just, you wouldn't even put that in your worst, think in your worst nightmare. It's so barbaric. I just pulls on my heartstrings thinking what she must have gone through that night. She must have been so scared.
If you hadn't had the machine.
When the line about Charlene being cut up and put into kebab meat came out during the court case, tabloid news desks went crazy for it. They went absolutely mental for it. Overnight, it elevated her story from being a regional story to a national and an international story.
Jokes about chopping up her body and putting it into a kebab.
So all of a sudden, Karen Downs had people tapping on a door and tapping on a window. When you're a journalist on the Blackpool Gazette or the Sun or the Mirror, when you've got 200 or 300 words to explain a concept, you just quote what's being read out in court, saying these extreme things about this kid being raped, murdered, tortured, put through a mincing machine, and her bones being crushed up for tile grouting, and all this salacious stuff. And it reads as if these tapes have been played out clear as day, when it wasn't actually. It was somebody else's interpretation of some very fuzzy tapes.
When you heard stories about how Charlene was murdered, that she went into the kebabs, what was going through your head? What did you think of the transcript?
I've never heard anything from anybody's mouth, anything like that coming out. She went into the kebab. Where it came from? Who says that? There is no mention of anything like that. The only time that anything like that was mentioned was one day I said, I know who's behind it, this David Cassidy behind it, and said, you need to fucking kill him and put him in a kebab.
So I know who's doing it now. That guy called Dave, the fucking ugly, fat, short, fat.
I think I've seen him. Kill him and chop him up and dispose of him.
I did it then.
You got a kebab shop.
I know. That's it. Yeah, mix it with a fucking kebab.
Make some money for
I know. That's true. Yeah.
There was no evidence that Mr. Revesci had ever known Charlene Downs. There was no evidence to connect him with her in any way whatsoever. All they had was the hearsay evidence of David Cassidy.
David told the police that he had had a conversation with Al-Batiki's brother, Tariq, and that Tariq said that he knew that a young English girl had been murdered and Al-Batiki and Revesci were involved.
Tariq gave me the full story of everything what happened. He came down in the morning and he said there was blood everywhere. Everywhere. He said to me, Charlene was in a freezer next to one of the takeaways.
David Cassidy, I said in court, he is the worst person can be a witness for anyone. I knew David Cassidy in 2003 when I bought a kebab shop. I used him for a few days to do delivery for me. A job that would take 5 minutes, it would take him half an hour, 40 minutes. I realized that he's not up to the job. So I phoned him, I left a message for him, Dave, we don't need you don't need to bother to come, yeah? He came to the shop, effing and blinding, he wants his wages. I said, what wages? Because you didn't deliver, you didn't work anything. And then from then on, he became even more bitter and started writing racist stuff on the back of my shop and reporting me that we handed in stolen stuff. Police come in, raiding my place, searching it for the stolen stuff. Nothing came out of any of that. We had a fight. I had to defend myself. So as it happened, you know, I beat him up, and then suddenly Charlene down situation came up, and then he's behind it. This is history of persecution witnesses. This is the charge sheet to do with David Cassidy and almost 4 pages of his conviction. I do not know. He's got so much, you know, that is his, you know, hobby, it seems to me, committing crime. That's what amazes me. Somebody like him that police know better than anyone else, they're basing the whole case on him. It is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely stupid. Police knows better than anyone else how bad this person is, how dishonest, how you know, dishonest he is. You cannot believe anything this man says. David Cassidy, the Mr. Fraser, he seemed to be all this bitter person, suddenly becoming like a gang. You know, I don't understand how they come together. That is something that, you know, I'd like to know. How this story came about, for them all get together, all these my worst enemies.
As time went on, there were more and more problems arising. The case obviously hinged upon 2 fundamental pillars, one being the flawed transcripts of many, many hours of secretly recorded conversations between the 2 suspects, and the other being hearsay evidence for David Cassidy.
Now, David Cassidy, the police wired him for sound and then told him to go and talk to Albertiki's brother again and make sure that he got responses along the same lines.
The counsel for the prosecution were told consistently that those tapes no longer existed. We made a written request to the police to say, look again into the question of these tapes. And sure enough, and much to everyone's amazement, the tapes came to light. And they drove a coach and horses through his account.
There were about 10 or 11 discs, as I recall, one of them having a really severe scratch from the centre to the periphery. The scratched one I brought to the attention of the Crown Prosecution Service, and the CPS, dutifully enough, invited the defence lawyers to go and listen. I didn't expect that they'd be able to hear anything. It was scratched. When the lawyer sat down and the expert produced his own machine and he played it, and I heard, as they did, and the lawyer for Reinvestigation literally punched the air.
You've told me things when you were mad with Eddie and Raz and that, but...
What is it?
You said to me that she was chopped up.
What means chopped up?
Caught.
Who?
You. Honestly, you did. Tarek, outside there.
You pissed me off. Imagine I coming to you and I say, you told me I'm pedophile. I never say it.
I must have got the wrong end of the stick.
Did your heart sink?
My heart sank. To say my heart sank is an understatement. I just couldn't believe what I was listening to.
Albertiki's brother completely denied that any such thing had happened to his knowledge, and indeed denied that he'd ever had a conversation with Cassidy along those lines.
What did you tell me out there?
When I was there, dickhead, don't fucking put something I never fucking speak about it. You dickhead, you. You start to put the shit everywhere. No matter what happened, you want to blame us because you hate him.
It was horrifying. A huge investigation into the murder and disappearance of a 13-year-old girl had just gone, vanished.
Today, the prosecution announced that it couldn't offer any evidence against Mohammed Rebeshi, who was charged with assisting an offender, and another man who was charged over Charlene's murder.
We must now accept that we don't have sufficient evidence to secure convictions in this case.
It was shameful, the cover-up, the lies being told about the whole thing. It had no basis. It has been proved today.
Justice for
Oh God, that was terrible that day. To see them walk free. Oh, I could have literally have told him sorry, but I could. Sorry. It's the way I felt that day. We all did. It was horrible. I still believe they're guilty to this day. I think it's no more than a gifted act.
Albertiki and Rebeshi are guilty. Yes, they are. It goes without saying.
The EDL and the BNP, they seized on the popularity of grooming gangs, nationalism and xenophobia.
First of all, I would like to thank all of the EDL and Casuals United for making today possible. Charlene was let down by the police and CPS.
The English Defence League, the BNP, they were supporting us. They were going out demoing and supporting Charlene. I was just so grateful for any help that I could get.
The EDL Casuals are the police force for Charlene's justice.
My mum did marches for Charlene. We made T-shirts. I was giving out leaflets. It got the word out for Charlene.
Is that we will continue to return to Blackpool until this case is reopened.
To Blackpool, I will always be the one who murdered Charlene down. Whether you're innocent or not, it makes absolutely no difference. Many things I suffered since I came out. People beat me up. People punched me, people broke the bottom of my head, I went to hospital. I was being abused, calling racial things. We have threat of people could kill us. They cut a pig's head and they chucked it through my window. All the rumors they created around me, obviously people became encouraged to break into my house. They just destroyed my house, really. Everything that I had, you know, it seemed to be disappeared. I had maybe 100 or maybe 50 photographs of myself, my family and things like that. They all disappeared. That is the only picture that I have with me. Not only did they destroy almost my future, they destroyed my past as well.
These men have been locked up for 2.5 years. They'd been falsely accused of the gravest of crimes. The police tried to manipulate the evidence in this case and tried to get them convicted in the face of what they knew to be facts and evidence that completely undermined the case that they were trying to present.
If one puts all the failures of the police together, there is scope there to suggest that there is more than incompetence to it, but I'm not prepared to say that. But certainly, to my mind, there was just one item of incompetence after another.
Did you know about these CDs in 2005?
I didn't know anything about these CDs in 2005.
But they've gone into the system in 2005.
That's what I'm told by the IPCC report, yeah. I don't know. I've no memory of it. Why would I have no memory of it?
So what do you think happened?
I haven't got a clue. I'm just utterly baffled by how all this has happened and why.
Somebody, using your account, has registered those CDs as irrelevant.
It could be the case that someone had access to my keyboard and it would have been a malicious act. They would know they're doing something wrong, could have accessed my keyboard and made stuff that I didn't know about irrelevant, therefore taking it away from my attention. It would never fall to my eyes. When the trial fell in 2008, that's when I found out. The CDs never came into the incident room. I was told by a retired officer that he'd taken those CDs to Superintendent Boschini's office on the 4th floor at Blackpool Police Station and handed them to him, whereupon Mr. Boschini had allegedly said, "Give them to me, I'm going to lock them in my secure cabinet and nobody gets to know about their existence."
Do you believe that somebody withheld the CD?
Yes, I do. Had it been disclosed at that time, we wouldn't have had the authority to go and search Reveshi's house, nor to install intrusive surveillance. With the lack of progression, I think, that was being made with the investigation at that time, there was a lot of pressure to come up with results, and the rule book was very much bent at that time.
I'd be very, very surprised, having worked for Paul Boschini, if he would do anything which wouldn't be anything other than which is ethical to try and seek to achieve justice and present the best evidential case at court.
Who do you think killed Charlene Downs?
The only thing that I can think from what I know now, one needs to look very closely to family. The family members, and people who are related to the family, friends or relatives or whatever. That is, if I was police, that's where I would look at.
This is a police report from the 24th of the 11th, 2003.
3 weeks after she disappeared.
Yeah. The following information has been collated on the Downs family. With regards to the above report as follows. Myself and DC12 have been making inquiries into the activities of the above family, specifically the possible sexual abuse of the children by suspected and convicted sex offenders. It is thought that this abuse is occurring with the knowledge and the consent of the parents of the children involved.
Did you kill your daughter?
Did I what?
If the public had known the truth about the way this investigation and trial proceeded.
Well, this has been one of Lancashire's longest-running murder investigations.
They were heard making sick jokes about chopping up her body and putting it into a kebab.
And then the stuff that was coming out in the court, it was evident that something was wrong, badly wrong.
They had to be restrained. Robert Downs, Charlene's father, had to be restrained as he left court. He was so upset.
I heard some of the evidence. I knew immediately it was thin and contestable. They didn't just have the difficulty of not having a body. It seemed that they didn't have any forensic evidence at all.
An astonishing catalogue of incompetence, manipulation and lies within Blackpool announced that it couldn't offer any evidence against Mohammed Reveshi.
They'd been falsely accused of the gravest of crimes. Incredible luck, in a sense, that the jury failed to reach a verdict.
This does not mean that the investigation that was launched when Charlene disappeared is at an end. The inquiry will remain open.
Everybody in this town thinks Eddie is guilty. They hate him.
We go to court and you are found not guilty, and then you go through hell, you are not guilty, and still people say you're guilty. So what's the point of all the process then?
It's about answers. Charlene's name. We need to know where she is and what genuinely has happened to her.
Charlene's story is featured in a national magazine.
15 years ago today, teenager Charlene Downs
disappeared from her home in Blackpool exactly 15 years ago. She was 14.
Karen's next. They've done many interviews over the last 15 years.
I will never be the same again. And I never want any other family to go through what we've been through.
Writing the book and putting your account, has it helped you at all?
Yes, it's helped me. Yes, and it's helped me get the point across about grooming gangs, because I'm very, very strong about getting the word out to parents.
What do you think did happen?
I don't know. I live in hope that she's still alive. I mean, I don't think she is, but I just try and live each day as it comes in the hope that one day she'll come back. It's been nearly 15 years, it's been a while. It was better than that. It's the weather that's tarnished it. It's the weather.
You'd be a bit tarnished without the weather for 15 years, wouldn't you?
Can you just come in? Just come a little closer, that's it. And hold hands here. That's it.
It's getting it out there. Proves she's never going to be forgotten. That's one thing she'll never be. She will never be forgotten. God bless my darling. See you again. Which one's a plaque? I can't remember.
I see it right here. Right
Can
there.
you see it there? Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3 there. By that tree
Oh,
there.
yeah.
15 years on, and all he got is a plaque and a bench. Yeah.
We have no body, we have no grave. So we have to have something there. Grieve for and for us to, you know, remember her by.
The courts, like say, did their best. They knew they had the right guys. Then they had to let them go. But that's a free justice for you, is it?
Thinking that they were walking free and my little girl I had no closure, I had no justice, nothing.
Are you sure it's them?
Oh, I'm certain it's them. I'm certain.
Rebeshi and Albatiki?
I've never had any doubt. I've never had any doubt in my mind that it's them. When I heard those Covert tapes, it put no doubt in my mind whatsoever.
Could you actually hear what they were saying?
I could hear what they were saying, yeah, muffled. Some of it I could, yeah. I heard enough to incriminate them anyway. All the little things that they said, and he said, oh, and Raveshi, I will never forgive myself. I cannot talk about that girl. I cannot forgive myself what I have done. All those things. And I killed her in anger. That was Albatiki as well in the court. I heard that as plain as day on the tape. I heard that as plain as day.
Karen Downs definitely feels let down by the police. I think she feels let down by everybody. I've known the family for 15, 16 years now. I was commissioned to ghostwrite a book on Karen's story.
And I said, I know what I heard on them tapes. And he called back and said, no, you see.
This is one of the strangest and most bizarre stories I've ever been involved with. The idea of what happened to Charlene, it fascinates me, and it troubles me, and it haunts me.
Thanks to you, my daughter will never get justice, you fucking bitch. I have you sleep at
It's
night.
easy to judge Karen Downs. She ticks a lot of boxes. She's a poor, white, working-class mother.
It's not going to take place. I was absolutely gutted. You've let them two evil bastards.
When I first met her, she was genuinely worried and scared and frightened.
Due to evidence difficulties, blah, blah, blah.
Hello, Joe Cusack.
Are you the guy that's writing the book about Charlene Downs?
Oh, yeah.
Got some information for you. But if you do, I don't want to be identified.
Okay, bye. Okay?
Yeah.
does feel a bit strange, out in the middle of nowhere, in a car park in the dark. I understand that you were in prison at the same time as Ayad Al-Batiki.
I was on remand for 6 months. He was going round saying that he'd got rid of her.
He got rid of her?
Yeah. So why are you saying it if you're not guilty? Baffles me.
Yeah.
You know, and it baffled everybody else. You know, everyone was saying, that's that fucking guy that shot that girl.
So just to be clear, Al-Batiki was going round the wing at Preston Prison saying that he'd killed or done Charlene Downs in and got rid of her.
I was told that he had told somebody that he had got rid of her. That's what I was told.
So, did you actually meet Ayad Al-Batiki? Did you come face to face with him?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know him. I didn't know her. I don't know. I'm not. I could walk past him in the street. I wouldn't recognise him. Is it a myth? Is it, you know, did he dismember her? Did he put her in kebab meat, or is it all a myth? Like, you know, I don't know.
Do you believe that?
No.
No?
No.
It may sound cynical, but I've heard stories like this ever since I started following this case. I have to take a lot of what I hear with a pinch of salt. But two of the things that are stamped all over this investigation are rumours and unhappiness. And there seems to be a lot of unhappiness that follows Ayad Al-Batiki around, but I'm definitely on his trail. I'm going to meet a woman that used to work for Al-Batiki, and she grew up in the same neighbourhood as Charlene Downs. She had a compelling testimony on how she started going in and out of the takeaways.
I did used to work for Ayad. One time, Ayad took us into a room. When I went in there was just this girl. She had her pants out of ankles and her eyes was rolling at the back of her head. This man was having sex with her, and he was also performing oral sex on her as well. I'd say she was a few years older than me, probably about 15. And as the night progressed, and he touched me from my ankle towards my vagina and grabbed my vagina and asked me if I wanted to fuck him like they was fucking and to be his bitch.
How old were you at the time?
I was 12 years old.
I definitely think that Ayad Al-Batiki has a lot of skeletons in his cupboard, some questions to answer. I'll bet that one day those questions will catch up with him. Mohammed Revesi is a different kettle of fish.
Come on.
It's very rare that you hear anything untoward about his behaviour. However, one young woman will give us very engaging and believable testimony about Mohammed Revesi.
Come on, Emma. Come in the sun. Come in the sun is better because otherwise it would be dark. Oh, come on, please.
Do you remember all this, Rez?
Yeah, I remember, yeah. This, that little girl, it was her birthday. Me and the little one's mother and the younger sister, Emma, we are just making her day special, really.
Yeah, something like that.
A video? Is that you?
Was that the video we had?
Sorry?
Was that the video?
Yeah. That's the video.
He videoed me. It is. Back garden in my house. Picking apples off the tree and we were dancing about.
Okay, Grooming. Look, Emma's dancing.
I remember being at that back garden. I was about 13, 14. It's hard.
Some of the girls tell us the police made them say things that weren't true. Did the police put pressure on you?
This statement, so-called, she made, yeah, It suddenly came up in court, and even my solicitor was surprised about that. If somebody make allegation like that, surely you give the person opportunity to, make a response, but nothing like that. Why?
Dance. Come on, Emma's dancing. Right, I'm going away. Go on.
He got me and my sister to work one night. The hotel that he owned.
Welcome to hotel, how can I help you?
At first he was okay. He had told me and my sister that the only place that we could sleep would be the bed in the basement, where he also slept too.
Not me, please.
Of course, we argued the whole night. He was sleeping beside him.
My little sister got...
I woke up and his hands were down my pants with his fingers inside. I rolled over, kind of pushed them off. And made like a big noise, just, just to get them off me. Didn't want to think about it. But today, it's difficult. It's hard.
Some of the girls tell us the police made them say things that weren't true. Did the police put pressure on you?
When I look back, the way they rang me on the phone, and then a few days later, they were knocking my door. A few days after that, I was going to court. I felt pressure. The police said I had to. I had no choice. But I thought I was doing the right thing for Charlene's family.
How can you, 4 of you sleep in one bed? It's not possible. Her sister was with me at the time. How can you do something like that, in front of her sister? Her sister said, this is not the case. That's why they never interviewed me, they never put it to me at all.
And I swear I'll never change, ever. Word for word. You'll just hear the same story in 15 years to come.
You okay? Sorry.
When I was younger, I didn't think of it like that. But now I'm older, and I have my own little garden. It's scary.
There are so many contradictory stories. But the thing I ask myself time and time again, are 2 paedophiles walking the streets because of the way the police dealt with this case?
The organised grooming of children for sex, with 13 men jailed for grooming girls in Bristol just last week. Back in 2003, 14-year-old Charlene Downs vanished. With us tonight is Detective Superintendent Andrew Webster, who is heading up this new team and this new investigation.
Yeah, we recognise and we have said that mistakes have been made in the original investigation, that the process was flawed, and we have learnt those lessons. We've reviewed the evidence which was presented against Albertiki and Raveshi, and I'm satisfied at this juncture is there isn't any solid evidence which would lead us to believe that they're responsible for killing Charlene Downs. Well, I picked up this investigation in 2014. It is a really, really challenging case, but I'm as committed as the rest of the team to trying to find answers, to find out what happened to Charlene. When you start afresh, you go back to what is the last confirmed sighting. We know that she started the day on Saturday 1st of November at her home address was 109 Buchanan Street. What we've done, we've looked at the CCTV around that period, and we've recovered an image of Charlene. Charlene is seen there crossing the road on Saturday the 1st of November 2003. Charlene was last seen alive and well with her sister. On the day Charlene went missing, we know that she met an elderly white male outside Mecca Bingo in Blackpool, where she was given a sum in the region of £70. But what we can say is that we do know that Charlene led a lifestyle that needed money. We believe that she was a victim of child sex exploitation, and that's how she got the money.
I need to let people know that she wasn't this person that everyone perceives. She wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't a dirty little gremlin. She was a lovely human being who loved the bones of anyone and everything that was nice to her. I see people now in the streets, everyone's like, oh yeah, she was on the game, she's doing this, she's doing that, when not one person took 5 minutes out to think about what that poor child were going through. I don't know, it was a gradual process, and then all of a sudden it got to a point where it just went bang and it just snapped, and she acted like she didn't give a fuck anymore. That's what it was. Because she used to be dead caring and all that, and then all of a sudden she changed. That's the house where Charlene went missing in. The first bedroom, the one without the curtains on, that was Robert's bedroom. The next one was Charlene's. I used to stay in Robert's room, and then halfway through the night, I'd catch a Charlene next to me at the bottom of Robert's bed. At the time, I just thought, you miss me, old best mate. But now when you think about it, why don't you stay in your own bed?
Why do you think she came into you?
I don't know, maybe she was scared, or it's one of them, isn't it? We'll never know, will we?
Contacted a lot of people who knew Charlene. Very few of them want to speak to us on camera. However, one of the persons that I have spoken to has put me in touch with this lady, and she's called me. We've had a brief chat over the phone.
About some of the things that have been going on at the Downs family home in Buchanan Street.
I feel absolutely certain that this person's got something to contribute. So I definitely think that we should spend some time speaking to this person and seeing what she's got to say. I know this isn't an easy thing for you, but yeah, thank you so much.
The 16th of the 10th, 2004. The 19th of the 11th, 2003.
I've always been a huge defender of the Downs family, but what I'm reading here is it's indefensible. It's really quite damning.
It makes for difficult reading.
It says here in these reports that there was a man, a friend of Bob Downs apparently, who was staying at the Downs home at the time, and that he'd made sexual advances towards Charlene. Jesus. I'm going to knock on the door of this man in these files. I want to see what he's got to say. I want to know what happened between him and Charlene Downs. And if that means knocking up a paedophile in his grotty little hellhole, well then that's fine by me. Let's see what he's got to say. Right, let's do this. Okay. Hey, can you give me 5 minutes of your time?
No.
You want the truth. Well, have you seen all the stuff from the Downs family?
No.
Yeah, and we really want you to set the record straight. You could explain how you came to be staying with the Downs.
I'm not going to answer no questions. I regret knowing apparently.
Bollocks. Karen, it's Joe Cusack. I want to ask you about AKA.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Can I read you something that I've got about this man and ask you to respond to it?
Of course.
Okay. After Charlene's disappearance, it was stated in a police report that AKA a 40-year-old friend of Robert Downs admitted that he paid Charlene to masturbate him. That he had told Karen Downs that he had feelings for Charlene, but he said he would wait until she was old enough. Did he ever say that to you, Karen?
He told me that what he did tell me was, he said he fancied her, he had feelings for her when she was 14, and I said to him, fuck off, she's a 14-year-old girl, you dirty bastard. But he never told me anything about anything else.
Did you ask him to leave your house? Did he?
He's going to be asking Bob about this. Is it okay if I pass Bob over?
Yeah, go on.
What do you make of that, Bob?
This is all fucking new to me, I'll tell you that now, because I'll tell you I knew nothing of that. The only thing I did, I sent Charlene down to go and knock on and say, we have to play it so we can go for a drink. And then she comes straight back, but I had nothing of that fatality.
Okay. Sending your kid. Why would you send your 14-year-old girl across town on a bike to knock on the door of a fella to ask if he's coming for a drink? I don't know what to think and don't know what to feel. Still got to try and keep hold of the fact that Karen Downs is a mother who's lost their 14-year-old girl.
There's plenty of evidence to back this up, that a convicted sex offender lived at the house for a time, and several men visited the house, that they visited the house in order to gain access to the children and to sexually abuse them.
Charlene's father is a heavy drinker. There's been unseen times when he's come back and he's punched things, he's threatened Karen. I've witnessed it on first hand. And Karen puts up with all the abuse when he comes back. And he's just horrible when he's had a few too many.
I'm quite soft as a parent, and I'd just give in to them for a quiet life, whereas Bob wouldn't. He's stricter than me as a parent, a lot stricter than me. He'd shout a lot at them. He used to think, well, my voice is enough, and if his voice wasn't enough, he'd smack them on the legs.
It wasn't just the legs he had, though, Karen, was it?
No, he'd grab hold of them and throw them drag them up into the bedroom, put them in the bedroom. I didn't like it. I'd leave them alone, Don't do that, please don't do that. Quite forceful into the bedroom. Get in your fucking bedroom and behave yourselves. Excuse my language.
I heard this story too many times from people who seemed to care about what happened to Charlene. That there was a lot of violence going on in that household, and not just from outsiders, that Bob brought in from the pub.
I met Robert Downs in a pub when I was drinking heavily. We just got talking in the pub, become friends, and that's it.
What, he just invited you back?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just you he invited back, was it?
Yeah, but they weren't really staying, they were just drinking with us all night. So I think he just invited them back so they were buying the beer.
When I went out to the pub, I could go out myself and talk and laugh and joke and sing and do all sorts. So when I said, before I get too actually drunk, and then I said, I want to go home now, and then I said, I'll get a carry out, but did it come out for a drink? What's wrong with that?
That's it, is it?
Yeah, that's what I thought anyway. They were buying the beer, so he was inviting them back, so he was drinking it. Seemed like a good idea at the time. He weren't paying for it.
Is that a bit weird? A bit odd?
Yeah, I thought so, but
Charlene made reports to social services that some of these men acted inappropriately towards her.
There was only one, not men, one, as far as I knew of.
Could you tell me about that one?
That was Raymond Monroe.
A man called Raymond Monroe, who had pleaded guilty to 4 counts of sexual abuse of 10-year-old children, stayed in the Downs home the day Charlene disappeared.
Oh, Ray Monroe, that's it, Raymondo. He was just a bloke in the pub that drank with us. I saw Charlene sitting on Monroe's lap once. I just didn't think it was right, a young kid like that sitting on his lap. Well, it just didn't look right because he's had his arm round her and everything, and I thought, that's not right. She's a 13-year-old kid, you know what I mean? I just had a word with him.
And what happened?
He knows I'd have killed him on the spot.
And 3 days after she disappeared, Bob Downs went to the sentencing of Monroe. He was given 4.5 years in prison for the sexual abuse.
But I didn't know, like I said, that he didn't confess to me, like I said, touching the girls, until I found that out in court.
I was horrified about Ray Monroe as well. When I found out, you know what I mean, I didn't know at the time though, else I would have never have had them in the house. I've never had them over my doorstep. Thinking back, hindsight's a funny thing. It is a strange thing. If I'd have known then, or I know now, they'd have never been in the house.
Were you honest with the police the whole time?
Of course.
Were there some things you just didn't want to tell the police?
Such as, like...
Is there anything you didn't want to tell them?
No, I was perfectly honest with the police.
Hello? Hi, it's Blackpool Police here. We just received a 999 call on your phone. Is there a problem? Well, what it is, my daughter's been missing since Saturday night. They thought she'd been back by now, but she hasn't returned.
You know when you first reported Charlene
Yes.
missing? When did that happen?
I phoned on the Sunday, and they told me to wait 24 hours. To my horror, I said, well, 24 hours, she's a child. Why do I have to wait 24 hours?
She's been missing since when? Saturday evening, about 8 o'clock.
I had phoned previous. It was this Monday, because I had phoned previous to that.
Saturday evening at what time? It was roughly about 8 o'clock. She came down, because I work, you see, and she came down to see me at work. And she said, oh, I'll see you later, Mum. She went up for the phone, and I've not seen her since. How old is she? 14. How come you've not reported her till now when she's only 14? Well, we thought she might have come back, you see.
I reported her on the Sunday, the bloody liars.
We left it to see if she'd come back, you see, but obviously she's not. I know I should have reported it before. What's she called? Charlene.
And at first I thought, where's she gone? Of course, like any parent would have done. I thought, where's she gone? So I said, go and phone the police. She said, I can't go and phone the police. I said, yes, you can, go phone the police. And she ain't come back.
Are you at 109 Buchanan now? Yes, I am, yeah. I've got to go out. Sorry, I've got to go out shortly, though. But I'm sorry, your daughter's 14 and you need to stay in so we can take anything from home. Right, OK, we'll get someone to speak to you.
We just sat up and sat downstairs with the light on, the door unlocked, and I sat in my chair and I was waiting for her to come back through the door, and she didn't come back through the door.
Karen Downs has always insisted to me that she called the police when she first realised Charlene Downs hadn't come home on Saturday night. But we now know for a fact that she didn't call the police until Monday. Is this because she didn't want the police coming round to her house asking questions? With Ray Monroe, a known sex offender, awaiting sentence, sitting on the couch next to her.
There's always people coming and going. I remember one of her sisters, they had an older boyfriend. She was about 15, 16, and the boyfriend was about 50 or 60.
Rebecca's the second eldest, and you get Charlene and Robert. We all knew she was sleeping with him. I mean, he was a 50-odd-year-old bloke. Karen knew. Charlene's dad knew.
Becky, who were you living with when you were young?
The old guy that I was living with at the time.
How old were you?
I was 14.
And how old was he?
He was in his 50s, but he wasn't my boyfriend. No, he was not. I was staying at that. He had a 2-bedroom flat and I was staying there at the time. Yes, I was. I was just prepared not to live back in the family home. Upsetting, isn't it?
It is upsetting.
Yeah.
You're also not explaining why.
I'm leaving it there.
And I remember going into their flat and they were just supplying us with fags and booze, you know. We was only 13, 12 at the time. And it would go, yeah, give us some food, and they'll go in the bedroom to talk. And yeah, that'll be it. And I'd be in the house when this would be going on, so I didn't think of anything about it at that time. I really didn't.
It looks like the Downs I've had an open door policy for every pedant and paedophile and dirty old bastard in Blackpool to come and go as they want. It is documented that Charlene Downs attended the NHS walk-in centre 13 times in 12 months. Her injuries included bruising to the inner thigh.
Any clinician at all would recognise as a sign of sexual abuse and violence.
Yeah, I believe she went there, but I believe she had some soreness down below, but she never really said, because my mum took her. But she just said she had sore down below. She didn't say it was for any sexual things or anything like that. My mum took her. My mum never told me anything like that either. Well, she didn't tell me. If she did, she went to the sex. She went there. I know she went there a few times, but it wasn't. I had no idea why she went there. She never ever disclosed anything to me about anything like that.
Did you kill your daughter?
Did I what? No, I did not kill my daughter.
Have you ever knowingly taken money from other men so they could have sex with your children?
No. There was an incident where they said that somebody gave me 20 quid so that it could have a session with my daughter in the old bus station. No, I did not take 20 quid off, just so they could go and do that to my daughter.
Which daughter was that?
I can't remember now. I think it was Charlene, I think.
It's actually 2 copies, and I've got to get one for Becky as well. Oh, and one of the plaque, they've took one of her plaque as well. Oh, that's there. It's in. There's a copy for you to have a look at. If I... Where's the book? Strange, I've never wrote a book before. But I'm very glad that I did to get the word out there and to get the message out there for other people and to help Charlene get justice and to talk about my life and to talk about issues that have gone on and to talk about Charlene as well. Yeah.
Can I show you the picture of somebody and just ask you if you know him? Just have a think about when you look at his face and just see if you know this guy. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Okay, just a reminder, folks, the reward's still there, £100,000 for information which leads to us identifying either where Charlene's been disposed of or information which leads to the conviction. As part of our investigative plan, we've sought to identify all the children who were under 18 on the 1st of November 2003 to trace those and ask them if they knew anything about Charlene or about seriously that was occurring at and around that time.
We are currently standing at just short of 700 people who were children who were under 18 back in 2003. We've seen and spoken with about 340 of those.
Yeah.
Around 50 have identified themselves as in fact being a victim of a sexual offence.
Okay.
That is circa 2003.
There's a couple of messages that have come in the last couple of weeks, one of which was from a girl who knew Charlene Downs, and she went to a premises with her. This girl hadn't been in the inquiry before, the premises wasn't in the inquiry before, so that's a lifeline that we're really pursuing.
We're actively going out there, seeing people who we know were associated to Charlene in 2003. But we're also looking at child sex exploitation. So if they make disclosures that have happened in 2008 or 1998, we're still very, very much interested in that.
From your point of view, it's a huge task. You're climbing a mountain. It's a nest of paedophiles.
Blackpool has its unique challenges. It's a seaside town which has a transient population. We have to work with the budgets which we have, and we will try to provide the best service to victims of crime. If you look at resources, it's always going to be challenging. There's always more demand in terms of work for police officers than there is supply of police officers to do that work.
Children are no safer today in Blackpool than they were when Charlene went missing. Nothing's changed. The problem for me is that we talk about the hidden problem of child sexual abuse today. It's not hidden. It's there in plain sight.
Not just Charlene, what it's happened to, I can think of like another 5 girls who haven't been killed, but have still gone through that process and just end up 5-6 years down the line. They've gone into like the sex industry and stuff like that. And it's all came from a young age.
I'd 100% say that Blackpool, the place where I grew up in, it is full of paedophiles.
There's a hell of a lot. I mean, on my street, there's 2 that are registered. Kids are being groomed in Blackpool, 100% guaranteed. Because you see it around now, all the time. You do see it all over Blackpool. You walk home, 10:30 at night, you've got 12, 13-year-olds in Blackpool town centre on a Saturday night.
It's a playground for paedophiles. Where would you go to not get caught, to not look like obvious? You go to a place where children are always there. You go to a place where deprived children are there, vulnerable children. It makes it easy for them to do what they want to do.
I'm going to see a young lady called Tyne Yates. I understand she was with Charlene on the day that she went missing. This young girl is exactly how I imagined Charlene would be if she was alive today. Okay, and did you go to all these places?
Yeah, I went with Charlene. We used to get given drugs and alcohol all the time. That's the fact that we used to go in there.
Charlene with you in this place?
This is it. Charlene introduced me to these.
Okay.
I'll show you down the alley where I used to go. Packy Alley is there, on the right-hand side here. I used to come here, and Charlene would be sometimes waiting at the bottom of the alley for me, watching, waiting for police to come. And if the police would come, she'd shout me. It was like, this was all a window.
Yeah.
And that was the door we went through.
Yeah.
And Charlene would stand by the door and I'd do it there. And I'd give her half of the money for making sure I was all right. Charlene weren't here when I lost my virginity in this alley. I was with my mum. And the punter said to her, I don't want you, I want her. And my mum said, you can't have her, she's 13, she's my daughter. And he said, I'll give you £250. So my mum got paid £250 and given me £10 for school the next day. I felt proud that I could help my mum earn that money.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to cry myself to sleep.
I've heard so many stories like Tyne's. Stories of kids having their lives stolen from them. Charlene was just another one of these poor, vulnerable kids that are so easily preyed upon. No one reported her missing until days after she disappeared. That kid didn't stand a chance.
If we look at Charlene's very short life, she was abused throughout it by a number of men. We have to ask the question, who is responsible for protecting our children? Who was responsible for protecting Charlene? Her parents? Clearly that didn't happen. The neighbours? Extended family? Again, that didn't happen. She was let down by social services, by the police. Who was left to protect Charlene? There was nobody.
This story keeps me awake at night. It absolutely haunts me. Really sticks in me gut. Somebody out there knows exactly what's happened to Charlene Downs. And I'm determined to be the one that finds them. Can I show you the picture of somebody and just ask you if you know him? Just have a think about when you look at his face and just see if you know this guy. Do you know him?
Yeah. I stayed at his bed and breakfast for about 3 weeks. He used to let me off money. But he's a creep.
In what way is he a creep?
Always around you and always knocking on your door. And at the hotel, always knocking on your door asking if you want anything. You don't have to pay for tonight. Stuff like that.
Did you have sex with him?
No. I've done oral.
This is Nigel Lloyd. He's a 50-something from Godalming in Surrey. He works in the catering industry. He's a chef. He's worked in Scotland, in the Lake District in Wales. He settled in Blackpool. Lloyd was sentenced to 64 months in prison for attacking 2 15-year-olds in Blackpool between 2001 and 2003. So this fella was active and in Blackpool at the time when Charlene Downs was skipping up and down that alleyway. This alleyway is the centre of this whole story. It's really depressing, and I'm sure there's a lot of lost souls down here. On the day that Charlene went missing, she was seen in this alleyway 3 times. 3 times she was up and down this godforsaken hellhole with God knows who doing God knows what. What a daunting place to end your life. For years, the investigation's been geared towards takeaway workers that back onto this alley. But on the other side was Nigel Lloyd, who lived in that flat up there with that window overlooking this alleyway. And I think that's where the story lies.